All right, we should be live. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me out there. I'm going to assume that we're good to go. So this is my second live stream. I figured I'd do again. I'm making the camera do stuff. I gotta figure that out. I figured I'd have like a topic of some kind at least. Um, oh, did I lose the camera? Okay, no, we're good. I'll have to stop talking with my hands, sit on my hands or something. But I had a viewer ask a question because I want to have some type of topic when I don't want to sit here and have nothing to talk about. I'm sure it'll go off on tangents every time to the most random stuff. But Tin Cup Flipper, hey Drew, do you think in one video you could tell us or explain why or how you made the decision to do reselling full time / part time? I'm starting a new job on the 31st that will allow me the opportunity to source more. That is key. I've been a retail manager for 17 years and I'm taking a Monday through Friday 9 to 5. So now I can live more regular life. I'm scared, but I'm hoping that one day, a few years down the road, I can walk away and do reselling full time. Having the ability to source while you're working is huge. I had that for the longest time. And without making it a extended conversation, from when I was a youngster on, because I grew up in a house that was resellers, garage sale. My aunt lived with me. She sold on Yahoo auctions. She sold on eBay before there was pictures on eBay, when it was just descriptions way back. But at a certain point, I was doing take my glass off, as side money, but mostly because it's what I want to do. I was playing music. I was a professional musician. I played solo gigs. I played with a band, and I wanted to figure out a way to do that full time. But the money in my area, that's not a possibility. So I need to supplement that to do that full time. And I made the mistake of starting way too late, because then other opportunities came along where the opportunity was too good, the money was too good. And then by time I was established at reselling enough where I was comfortable to go full time, I had already basically moved on from playing music because it became too much of a grind and my band separated and all that kind of stuff. So I ended up a full time reseller. I wish I would have started sooner. That's basically the moral story. I could have started reselling like in high school. If I would have just picked up where my aunt was doing and been like, "Oh, that's cool. Let me start here." I would have been reselling since I was 18, and it would have changed my life completely, the whole direction of everything forever. Um, but it was more of a, I don't want to work for someone. That's it. That was the whole thing. My whole life, I was always good at jobs I would get. I would always get promoted, get management positions, all that kind of stuff. But I hated it because you'd get to a certain point and you're like, okay, well, what now? What's pushing me to that next level? What do I have to strive for? Can I get to a higher position? Can I make more money? And all the answers were always no. Even in sales positions, you hit a cap. You get really good at it, and then you figure out, okay, well, there's not enough customers. The product doesn't, have enough upside. Whatever it is, you run into a cap where you're like, I can't make any more money, so I'm out. Um, but at one point, and this is where the bifurcation of where I wish it would have went and where it did go is I had an opportunity to own my own distribution company for a second. Kind of like owning a franchise, but where I don't want to say the name of the company because I don't like to support them because I hate them. Um, but where you kind of own your own franchise, but you're going store to store and you fill the shelves with food. Say like one that I wasn't, but like a Little Debbie. They have the same type of thing. And that opportunity came up and I jumped at that and I made a boatload of money, like a ton of money. I paid off my house, paid off my car, cleared out all my debts plus paid for the business in like under 3 years, like 2.5 years, 2.25 years, something crazy like that. And then also sold the business and made money. But if I would have just instead stuck with the job I had, which was part-time at the time, and then did reselling as a side job, I would have been better off in the long run because I would have had stable income while reselling, while building the business. And that in between time wouldn't have been so scary. And it just overall, I think, would have been better. 20 people here. That's cool. Hello, everybody. There was a couple questions dropped in the chat before the live even started. So let me get through some of them. Ty Johnston, what percentage do you promote with free shipping? And do you include that percentage in the price? I'm looking at switching to free shipping, a lot to consider. I don't consider promoted listing when I'm doing pricing at all. And the only process I have for promoted, because unfortunately it's pay to play. It's a real thing. Like if you don't promote at all, you have to be either in a very collectible niche, very rare items. If you're in clothing, video games, really anything where you're competing against other people, you have to promote. But what I do is I keep a bank of somewhere between 100 and 200 my newest listings, and I just let those run their course for a while. And then every once in a while, I'll throw 20, the oldest 25 of those, I'll add to my promoted listings, and then the rest are always promoted. Every once in a while, I will select a listing, like I have a pink Pyrex buttermilk dishes that are worth $900 or something. Well, hopefully $900 if they sell. I don't promote those because there are at any given time 4 to 6 listings, and the person looking for that is looking for that item. And even giving up the 2.1% that I promote, and that's the cap, that's the lowest and the highest I'll go. But the 2.1% I promote on a $900 item is still a ton of money, so I don't do that. But that's all I do, 2.1%. The lowest you can do is 2. I do 2.1 to just put me above all the other people that put 2%. And that's it. I used to do 1.1. Then they raised the bottom. Will they raise the bottom again? Yes. 100%. There's no chance they don't. Because every time their shareholders are getting mad, they could just go, oh, well, let's make us some more money and make the base 3. Don't ever do the suggested. I've seen suggesteds at the 20 plus range. That's insanity. But if you're in something like, I was listing video game stuff the other day, and like Xbox controllers, there's thousands of them. And even in the search, they've changed it where they'll only show you 50 listings, and it won't be the cheapest. It'll be the promoted ones. And then you have to click to show the rest of the listings, and then it'll say there's 1,100 listed. And then if you sort by cheapest, it'll show a bunch of them, especially games. Like if you have games that are like no disc only, you'll go to sort by lowest. You're like, oh, well, there's no like disc only, super cheap, $4.99 free shippers, which don't do that, but those exist. And then you click the button to say show all, and then there's a bunch of new listings because those weren't promoted. So you, in some categories, you have to, in others you don't. But I just do across the board outside of the very rare few 2.1, just less headache for me. John Shiflett, what is one thing that you have sold that you wish you had held onto for yourself? I read this earlier. I racked my brain for half the day. I don't recall anything. There's been stuff that I've sold or listed where I'm like, man, I'd like to keep this. A lot of the shoes from the big Nike buy, because it was a collection of 10.5 Nikes. I love shoes. I love specifically Nike shoes. I am a 10.5. I wanted to keep all of them. So that was probably the worst one. But still, when I was getting, 500 plus for shoes, I don't need that. The shoes I'm wearing right now, I paid $85 for 2 years ago. I could sell them today for $65 and then go buy another $85 pair of shoes, which I probably will soon, because they're getting a little wore out. I hope I don't say this wrong, but I think it's Hina Fahad. Waiting. And you were waiting about the same amount of time I was. I think I sat down when you said waiting, but I had some stuff to clear up on the phone. So Hina, if that's how I say it right, I hope I am. Nice to see you here. Eric D, mo money, mo money, mo money. Yes, every chance you can get. I say this as often as possible. I try not to repeat myself in my videos too much because then things sound cliche, but sometimes cliches are cliches because they're right. It's easier to make more money by saving money most times than it is to actually make more money, which eventually runs out. You can only cut as many corners as you can cut, but save that money. Rolling with the Stones. Hello, everyone. Hello, Rolling with the Stones. I don't know if you have a YouTube, but if you want to see a bunch of hauls that will make you super jealous, go follow Rolling with Stones on Instagram. I hate him. Every time I go through Instagram, I'm like, oh wow, that's like a month worth of good stuff for me, and it'll be a random Tuesday. Ty Johnston, yo. 1 Foot Flipper, hi everyone. Dark Toy Lord, I tried, suggested once. Then I saw that eBay was promoting my $20 item at 20%. Yeah, I was all set with dynamic at that point. Yeah, the suggested ad rates, I don't think there's any, I'm sure it's an algorithm, but sometimes I'm like, how do they come up with this number? How? Because one person's at 19, so now the suggested ad rate's 20. It just seems, I just don't do it. Don't do it. Don't trust them. That's the thing. Don't trust that they know what they're talking about because they don't. 1 Foot Flipper, I think I am going to lot all my disc-only games up by system and unload them. I don't want any more of that trouble for $3 sales. Yeah, I was saving mine. I was waiting to come across one of those like burnable CD plastic containers with very few CDs I get for cheap or just the container, just so I would have something to ship them in instead of having them loose. And that was my plan. I was just going to build it up and then maybe run an auction or something, do a video where I'd go through each one so they could at least see what it was. Excuse me. But I did end up listing that PS2 with all my loose games, loose PS2 games, and a few that were too cheap to list on eBay. I listed it for $100, and I had 10 or 15 people message me immediately, and I have someone waiting on the next one already. So I found out my marketplace isn't a complete dumpster fire. It's the right stuff. And that also consoles are in demand in my area. So I actually listed 2 eBay listings I had, the GameCube, the James Patterson series. I put those on my local marketplace. And I did the math. I took, minus the shipping, minus what the fees were, and that's the price I put on marketplace. Because if I get this, that's the same amount of money with less work. And if it's instant, I mean, that's great. I'm so jaded with marketplace because I've just had such a bad experience. Mark Livermore, what a ludicrous idea to let the fee collector suggest the fee amount. Why not just suggest 100%? Yeah, that's yeah. Let the people in charge of taking all your money decide how much money to take. That makes sense. And actually, I'm going to do a little, there's 25 people in here. That's awesome. I'm going to do a little contest. I shipped out, if you follow me on Facebook, you know this already. I shipped out an item today to and this can't be confirmed, but I have I would say 90% chance that I shipped out an item today to a WWE superstar. It was a pair of Harley boots, size 14, and first person to guess who it was in the chat, I will send out one of the large tip of the mitt flip stickers to. Ty Johnson, I've done that. I used to lot them with consoles. Yeah, they're good as an add-on. You got to be careful though that stuff you throw in with the console doesn't increase the shipping too much by making it too big or too heavy, that the price difference doesn't make sense. I've done that before too, like threw in extra controllers and other stuff to make the lot look better, but then the box ends up too big and I end up losing out the money on the shipping anyways. The Disgruntled Octopus. Morning, humans. I like that name. Corey Lowe, aka Tin Cup Flipper. My biggest fear about reselling on eBay is doing something wrong and getting my account suspended. And Corey, correct me if I'm wrong, but you are Tin Cup Flipper, right? That is sensationalized thing. It is actually pretty rare. You have to either do something egregious or you have to be a repeat offender. I've had listings pulled down. I probably had 20 listings pulled down over my history of eBay. And nothing. I mean, that's it. They tell you, they take it down. They say, don't do it again. I don't do it again. End of story. I told somebody I was busy, and then they try to call me. That's fun. But yeah, I think it's sensationalized because it makes for good clicks on YouTube. It gets a lot of views. The eBay YouTubers who get their accounts suspended for any amount of time, they start salivating. Don't try to call me twice. That ain't cool, Sean. They start salivating, I think, when it happens. It's like, ooh, I'm going to get X amount of views. This is going to be huge because I'm not going to say it's clickbait, but it works. I wouldn't want to do that on purpose for the video, but when it happens, that's going to be a huge video for whoever it is. FJ Treasures, nice hat. Yes, Labatt Blue, I do like to support, even though I don't get to drink it anymore. Actually, do have myself a glass of wine. How fancy. With the Boathouse glass, which is used to be a local restaurant here, which was called the Boathouse because it's a part of history, and people used to run rum from Canada through the Great Lakes, down the Sheboygan River, and they would drive into the Boathouse. So it's a historical landmark, but the business went to poop, and it's really sad because it's awesome, the whole story behind it. I always wish they would have done like a restaurant, bar, museum type of thing and had a whole spiel, but that's for somebody else to do. 1 Foot Flipper, I think the suggested is to be on top. The suggested ad rate. Yeah, the promoted rate. Yeah, that makes sense. So whatever the highest is, the suggested would be higher. So that's probably why it gets higher and higher, because some lunatic out there is putting their promoted way up. But there are people out there manipulating the promoted, because they'll add that 20% to their price and then promote at some crazy rate, hoping that person comes through and just, this one on top must be the best one. Rolling with the Stones, I do have a very poor YouTube channel where I show off those hauls. Yeah, some of your hauls are great. If you have a electronics recycling thing in your area, get in with that. Figure out how to get some of that. Hokey Okey LLC. Hello. Another plus to free shipping is that if your item gets damaged, lost by USPS, you don't lose the shipping cost. I mean, kind of, but the shipping cost is baked into the price. So you're still out that money. Or do you mean like when you're claiming a claim? Is that what you mean? That it's somehow you don't lose out on it? I'm not sure what you mean there. William Simmons. Hey, Drew and everyone. Hello, William Simmons. Ty Johnson. They suggested the ad rate on how much money they need that day. Yeah, we're hurting a little bit. Let's bump all these up. Rolling with the Stones. While watching your last video, I so wanted to hand you a PS cable through the screen. I have about 10. I thought I had a bunch of them. I have one for my system, but it's got like a fray, like not the wires are frayed, but the the rubber plastic is got like a cut in it. So Blackbeard's got in. So I use it for myself because I'm not going to like leave it plugged in, and I'm not going to. I'm aware of it, but I don't want to sell it like that. I should have it today or well, actually no, it's too late today. I should have it by tomorrow, and I have somebody lined up to buy it already. So if all my sales could be like that, that'd be amazing. Where are we at? RC, the retiree. How many items do you have in inventory, and how do you organize your inventory numbering system? Excuse me. I, as of today, have 1,300 items, which is the most I've ever had. Basically, at this point, until I have a day with higher sales than the amount I'm listing, I am setting a new record every day, and sales have been slow enough where I'm basically increasing my record of how many things I've listed every day. not the goal. I would sell all 1,300 of them today at 50% off if somebody offered. I mean, that's the goal, is to sell the things. But how I do my inventory, which do an inventory, have a system. I don't care if you got 5 items, start the system. Because I was around 400 items, 300 items, somewhere in that range when I was like, ooh, I should probably do Blackbeard. I was like, I should probably do something. And so I have shelves. The shelf itself is A, B, C, D. The shelves on the shelving is 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'll break it down even further from there. So say I have A1A, which is a beachfront avenue. That's a favorite by everybody. So a basket on shelf A1 will become A1A. And then in the custom SKU in your item specifics, it's the very last one. I really wish you could change where your item specifics are, because I would make that on the top. I think on the computer when you list, if I'm remembering correctly, it is like the second or third thing. It's like picture, title, custom SKU, but on the app, it's the very last thing. Drives me crazy. And then I just put it in the custom SKU. I also, in my custom SKU, put the date. I put the month and year, not the exact date, because I do sell similar, and I like to be able to look through and see how long an item's been listed. And that's the best way to do it, because when you end and sell similar, it repopulates a brand new listing, new date, all that kind of stuff. 1 Foot Flipper, I sell Christmas ornaments to Stephen King's wife, Tabitha, every year. That is pretty cool. I've sold to, I've sold to a couple of movie studios. I've sold to a news studio, but never a celebrity. I've had celebrity names pop up where I'm like, maybe, but it'd be like a $9.99 free shipping item. Like, there's no way. A used item. I'm like, no, not a chance. But this one, because the size, the location of where they lived, their eBay name and actual name, I was like, okay, this seems pretty legit that it was a WWE superstar. And to anybody new joining, if you guess who the WWE superstar I shipped an item to today is, I will send you a large, the bigger size, tip of the mitt flip sticker. Let's see, Andy. So Meta, give us a hint, like the address. Well, this here we go. Here's your first hint. This person is big enough. I guarantee this is one of many of their homes. Many of their homes. Eric D, HBK. I wish. Heartbreak Kid, probably my favorite wrestler of all time. Loved him. It's so weird. I watched wrestling for 4 or 5 years of my life. Very short window. Wasn't allowed to watch it as a little kid. So like middle school, freshman year. That's it. Which I lucked out, because that was like The Rock and Stone Cold, like the peak of wrestling, basically. But now I find myself, you know how your phone, either Facebook or TikTok or any of those, they learn what you want to watch. I watch like wrestler interviews all the time. Something I was interested in a very short window, but I love hearing like the old stories and traveling and all that. I love it, but it's sad. A lot of these guys were really addicted to painkillers and stuff. So that's really a bummer. Let's see. Kevin, Undertaker. Nope. Rolling with the Stones. Andre the Giant. Nope, I doubt that. He's gone. Mark Livermore. Chris Jericho. No, but one of my least favorite wrestlers. I can't stand him. I hate it. He was in that era when I watched. 35 people here. That is new record for people in my live. Thank you all for joining. Ty Johnson. Undertaker. No. 1 Foot Flipper. I don't remember who the wrestler is, but he owns a memorabilia shop. I don't know, but I don't think so. This person definitely is still working. Here's a second hint for you. Still working, not wrestling. Let's see. FJ Treasures, only 11 thumbs up and 30 people in the house. Show some love, everyone. William Simmons. It's Sting. I don't know. I haven't watched since WCW was around. Yeah. Sting, I think, still wrestles. Like, that's what I mean. I only watched it for a short period, but I keep watching all these interviews. They pop up and I don't know. Your phone figures out what you're into. I end up watching people pour cement. I don't know why. I enjoy it. I don't get it. I don't question it because I don't watch much on my phone. It's only, 4 or 5 minutes here or there. But for some reason, my phone has figured out I like to watch people pour cement. I like to watch fishing stuff, which I hate fishing. Hate it. But my phone decided that I do like it, and apparently they're right. Ty Johnson, it's Edge. Nope. Eric D. Rated R Superstar. I don't even know who that one is. Corey Lowe, do you have a set number of listings that you try to maintain? No. Like I said, I would sell them all today if I could. I would start at 0. I would go back to 0 listings if it was possible. 50% off everything. They took it all. I would make a ton of money. Take half of it, put it in my bank account, take half of it, and start over. It would be the best. You do want to, and I've fought it for so long, but schedule some listings, even if it's only 1 a day. Just if you can list 10 a day, only list 9 of them live and put 1 into a bank. And then if you can list 5 days a week on Saturday and Sunday, drop 1 of them as a draft. I hate it, but it actually does help. I forget to do it all the time because I'm also, because it's like it seems stupid because I have the item. I can't sell it unless it's on eBay, but yet eBay is telling me that I need to list things every single day to help with the algorithm and the flow of my store and all that. But yet if it's not on the platform, it can't sell, where I can't make money and eBay can't make money. They're so disconnected from the fact that when we make money, they also make the money. Hokey Okey, yes, they refunded only cost of goods, sale price. Oh, okay. So was that in reference that? Yeah, you were talking about the USPS, I think, insurance claim for free shippers. Eric D, congrats on the 1,300. Yeah, that's a big number. I mean, I went full time. I mean, I might have had, I probably had 250 listings when I went full time. Don't do that unless all those listings are $100 plus. It wasn't a smart idea, but also it was at a same time where, Thea was just born and Jen was about to go back to work, and so I wasn't going to be the full-time income, but it turned into I needed to make a lot more money quickly. The job she had was not pulling in the same dollars of the job I had, all this kind of stuff. And so I had to scale up pretty quickly, but I had been buying like crazy leading up to it because I couldn't list hardly anything because I had a full-time job where I worked 60, 70 hours a week. And then so I would buy all the time. I'd go sourcing every weekend, and I would when I was delivering, I would just pop off at garage sales and buy stuff and throw it in the back of the truck. And so I was piling up good stuff for a long time. When I finally went full time, I would pull out like 3 antique typewriters or vintage typewriters, 3 or 4 of them. I'd have a stack of them. Small TVs, I used to sell a bunch of. I would have 4 or 5 of those sitting around to list. So when I first started, I had a leg up. So I bet that would be the only time to have a death pile is if you're right before you're about to transition. You could overbuy so that you have enough when you do actually make that transition. Dark Toy Lord, someone asked earlier if you regret selling something that you wanted to keep for yourself. I have to say, being an action figure collector and reseller is very tough. I regret selling everything. Yeah, but then you get to buy more, right? I also follow Dark Toy Lord on Instagram. If you are into action figures, he's got some pretty cool ones. Ty Johnson, Triple H. Nope, not that one. Mark Livermore, Stone Cold. Nope. Let's see. Rolling with the Stones. The electronics recycling company I'm connected to sold all of the computers and TVs in the last and new seasons of Stranger Things. Like sold them to Stranger Things, like for the show. Because it's I haven't watched Stranger Things yet, which is I know hard to believe because I'm obsessed with D&D. But because it's a vintage era show, so like the stuff for that's cool. Yeah, it was one of the things I sold to a movie studio one time was a rotary telephone, which that's something I never expected when I became a reseller. Was that when I'd watch movies, I was watching I don't remember what it's called, but it's a movie about the lady who worked at NASA, but they like wouldn't let women, work with the men back then. But she was like the best mathematician they had, and she was like a whole part of getting someone to the moon. But they were sitting down for dinner, and they had like Pyrex on the table and stuff. Like I sold that. I might have sold that to them. But that was a thing I never expected to do. Corey Lowe, I live next to a Megan Fox, and she for sure isn't the real Megan Fox, because if she was a cheerleader, she would be at the bottom of the pyramid. Go on, don't be mean. Don't be mean, okay? I get what you're saying. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Sounds like cheer squad at my high school when I was in high school. Wrestling Figs Triple H. Nope, Triple H is already guessed, but no, not Triple H. I will give the next hint because I don't see it coming up yet. Currently, not a wrestler, currently a actor. The Lego Bug. Hey, my friend, great to see you. Lego Bug, how's it going? Andy So Meta, Ric Flair. No, but Ric Flair, I can't. When I watch videos of him like right now doing interviews, Ric Flair's gonna die any day. Like he's. It's sad. He looks rough. I just watched an interview today where he, on his very last match, which was 10 years after his last match should have been, he said he passed out twice, upright, like woke up and was like, oh, I'm wrestling. Crazy. And that's the problem with a lot of these guys. They can't let it go. And it's not like football where the football will tell you it's time to go. The coaches will just cut you. As long as you're bringing in money, they'll have you die on the stage. It'll make them more money. They don't care. Let's see. Mark Livermore, I hate Y2K. Also, fuzzy socks. I don't know what you mean. Oh. Is it Y2K like one of Chris Jericho's names? I think that's a thing. Yeah. If that, I'm trying to remember back. It's been a long time, but I think that's also a Y2 is a Chris Jericho thing. Yeah, I never liked him, and they made him a big deal when he came out. I was like, this guy's dumb. The disgruntled octopus, 34 people and 1 octopus. Yeah, don't leave out the octopus. 37 people. That is awesome. Thank you everybody for coming out. Now, Craig, I've said your name in my head a bunch of times. Like Craig M. Rog or Craig M. Rog? Craig Mrog. Love your show enough. Wrestling Lions are 5-1, young man. Yeah, the Lions. I mean, to a lot of you, you don't get it. You just don't. You don't understand. The Lions have been bad for the entire existence of me. The Lions have been bad since the 50s. Not a lot of teams have been around since the 50s. To exist that long is crazy. To be bad that long is insane. And it's not like we haven't had good players. I mean, we had one of the greatest running backs to ever exist. Couldn't win. One of the greatest wide receivers to ever exist. Couldn't win. Which, I don't know. Kelvin Johnson might not have been, because apparently Matthew Stafford, any wide receiver he gets, is the best in the league in the time that he's with them. So maybe it was Matthew Stafford this whole time. I'm just kidding. Kelvin Johnson's awesome. Evan the Rock, no. These were used boots, and my assumption is that leather boots are probably too much work to break them in. You want them to feel good immediately, so that's why you would buy used leather boots. But no, I don't. The Rock, I can't imagine The Rock would ever buy anything used. He seems pompous to me. Jennifer Hayes, hit the like. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Jennifer is super helpful in live chats. She is the tops. The Lego bug. I watch people digging up old marbles. Okay. Actually, I could see that. Gold mining. That one always gets me. I had to delete TikTok because TikTok quickly figured out how to suck me in. It was stuff where I was like, I'd be watching it like, why am I watching this? And I'd go right back to it. Corey Lowe, I love the videos of people cleaning dirty rugs in cars. Yeah, Jen loves it. Loves it. She'll watch a rug cleaning video for hours. Loves it. It's just, and it's the, if eBay could get a hold of something as good as the, what's it called? I just said it. TikTok algorithm. That TikTok algorithm is insane. In minutes, it will figure you out. It'll figure out the deep inner you that you didn't even know existed. You know, I mean, as a man, I assumed, okay, I'm going to get TikTok. It's going to flood my feed with thirst traps or something. Nope. Cement videos and fishing trips and stupid stuff. Dave Clark, watching cement videos, I'm sure there were concrete reasons for recommending them. Oh, dad joke for the win. Eric D, Randy Orton, no. Dave Clark with the win. Yes, sir. Dave Clark, hit me up through the Facebook page or through Instagram. Get me your address and I will mail it out to you. Now that it has been revealed in the live chat, here's the question I'd like to pose to you guys. I definitely don't want to put their, even though their eBay name is public knowledge, I don't want to put it in the video because I don't want people to like go hassle their account and like message them and stuff. And, you know, and you're not technically, I think, supposed to say the name of the person, but because their eBay name is public information. Their name and address is not public information. So I'm like, do I, you know, because I would like to use it for a thumbnail. That'd be pretty cool. But I don't want to push any boundaries. If I was famous, I wouldn't want somebody to step on my toes. I also would like this guy to buy a thing from me again. I don't want to violate any of that. So let me know in the chat what you guys think about using that information I recorded all the information in the video, how much will get redacted and how much will stay in. I'll decide between now and then, but I'm hesitant to put anything out there outside of saying, oh, hey, like a famous person bought this. Obviously you in the chat know, but if I make it the thumbnail, I'm not worried about you all. But if I make it like the thumbnail and I give too much information, people outside of the realm of what I do are going to come to the video, wrestling fans or movie fans, Marvel fans. And then what if the video magically gets 100,000 views, or why am I saying 100,000? Magically gets 10,000 views, and all of a sudden their eBay gets, you know, hounded or something. I would feel bad, and it'd be, I would say, not good. Let's see. Eric D, good guess. Corey Lowe, I just sold something while watching. Cha-ching, cha-ching. 1 Foot Flipper, I sold out of and bought back into Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 3 times over the years at more money each time. Yeah, my Dungeons and Dragons stuff, that's just staying. It's especially the old stuff, because there has been a proven track record at this point that, like you're saying, it just keeps going up in value because new people come into the space, and then people who come into the space become collectors, and then you get people who are completionists or people just who have money. I know that's a hard thing for me to wrap my head around, but sometimes people just have money, and like going and spending frivolous hundreds of dollars on random things that you're into that day, isn't that crazy? Because you have money. I don't understand that. Even when I was making really good money, which I don't want to get into how much it was, but it was really good money. It was triple plus what I make right now. And pay for all my bills and live what I would consider a somewhat comfortable life. And I still wasn't like going and buying random things. I paid off my house. I would like pay extra bills. I would do more work on my house. But to have just like that money where you're just like, this interests me for 3 seconds. Let me go. Put my typewriter hands up here and go buy whatever. That is insane to me. But people live that way. Can you believe it? Jan Good. If you had to niche down, what would you sell? If I had to, that's two questions in one. If I had to, I would have to do clothes because it's the only thing that would be available in abundance in my area to do. Even books I couldn't niche down to because I wouldn't be able to source enough books. And to source books at like my Goodwill and stuff like that, they're not viable. They're $3-4 a piece. Not possible. Excuse me. Sorry. If I could choose what to niche down into, it would be toys, video games, toys and games. I could sell video games all day, every day. I used to sell a lot more. I think I've bought up quite a few in my area. There's only so many people who live in my area. It's not like GameCubes and PS2s are coming back into my town. I live in a town of like, 5,000 people or something. Maybe not even that. Which if my channel ever grows to subscribers more than I have in my town, I've always hinted at like this secret number I have. That has been the secret number. I would like to, my overall goal is to have more subscribers than I have people in my town. I always thought that would just be the coolest thing ever. But if I could choose games because they're so easy and I could play them all the time. Like even when I was listing them today, I was like, the games I'll always list because I can just go pull one off the shelf if it hasn't sold yet, put it in, play it for a while. It's not like I'm going to destroy it by playing it. But if I could choose, but if I had to niche down, it would be clothes because it's the only thing I could possibly come up with enough of them at a cheap enough price. Eric D. Cena, nope. We got an answer now. Let's see. Hokey Okey Hidden Figures. I assume that's with something else. I'm sorry. My mind is too scattered to remember previous things. Let's see. Michelle Sweeney. Hi, Michelle. Michelle has been one of my bosses previously. Michelle is my favorite boss of all time. She was the best. And some of you will get a super kick out of this. We worked at Blockbuster together. She managed a Blockbuster. She promoted me to a key turner or whatever. What was it called? MOD, manager on duty. And that was one of those jobs. That's as high as I could get because higher than that was the assistant manager and she wasn't going nowhere. And higher than that was Michelle and she wasn't going anywhere. So that job, it had a cap, but that job was the most fun I ever had in a job. And we were there at the end. I wasn't there the last day. I think I quit a month before they closed the doors, but they showed up with boxes, said, "Hey, company's done. Here we go. Last day of work." That was a fun job. I worked with a bunch of my friends. Like I said, Michelle was just the best boss. Granny's Nook, The Rock. Nope, we got the answer. It is the Dave Bautista, aka Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy, which I stopped watching wrestling before Bautista started, or at least before I think he was on a different one. Maybe he was on like ECW or something. I don't know, one of those, and then he like transferred. I don't recall, but he wasn't really famous for that when I started, but huge Marvel fan. Love it. I tried to start because, I like to watch like the timeline in the correct order, which Marvel is to the best at. DC doesn't know how to do anything. And I tried with DC. There's no congruence. It doesn't make any sense. It's like these fleeting, we'll put a clip at the end so it kind of makes sense. Just what a joke. And DC has the better storyline. I mean, the League of Justice is far superior as far as storyline. League of Justice? Justice League. Let's see. Rolling Stones, Ric Flair. Ric Flair was just at my local grocery store promoting his new energy. He should not be drinking energy drinks. I hope not. he should be. He just looks so bad. Like I think half his teeth are missing. It's so sad. He 10, 15 years too long in the game. Andy so meta. Ric Flair was on Kill Tony. Absolutely hilarious how horrible he was on the show. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, he can barely talk. And I don't know if that's the missing teeth or I don't know. He lived a life people would dream of. But I mean, you gotta that time comes calling. He's got to pay for it. Eric D. Lions. Yes. Top of the NFC. Top of the league. I mean, tied, but who cares? Semantics. I mean, walking our way into the playoffs. If we go 5-5 the next 10 games, right? 10 games left? 10 games left? But still, if we go 5-5 the next 10 games, we're still in the playoffs. Like, we could be mediocre the rest of the way and we'd still get in. That's, I mean, what an amazing time to be alive. OG Cheap. I'm going to the Vikings-Lions game on Christmas Eve. Can't wait to watch both crappy teams I love play. Hey, Lions are good this year. And I'm not because they keep getting players hurt and it doesn't matter. They just, good players go out, somebody else comes in, they make it happen. And even the game they lost to Seattle, robbed. Touchdown at the end, the guy fumbled the ball. I tried to find the rule because the ball was out of his hands and the ball touched the pylon. And if you fumble through the end zone, that's not a touchdown. So I don't know. Or is it? That was the thing. I tried to figure it out because when they did the replay, they only did the replay once because they saw and we're like, oh, we don't want to have this a controversy. And the ball is out of his hands. Ball hits the pylon, which has a camera. They could have looked at it easily. Let's see. But cool that you go in the game. And actually, Vikings, I loved the Vikings when I was younger because the Lions were terrible and they were purple, and purple was my favorite color. My bedroom as a preteen through teenager was dark purple by choice. Carrie W. Hey there. My question is, did your dad get Terapeak on the Seller Hub? He has to have the Seller Hub. I was remembering back, I'm trying to remember back at, he was saying he doesn't have Terapeak because I don't think he had an account. I think he was using a guest account, but I don't remember exactly. I'll have to double check on that. Because I was telling him to go use Terapeak and I showed him on mine and then he went home and couldn't find it. That does not mean it wasn't there because I mean, I'm getting older, so he's not getting younger. Let's see. RC, the retiree. Yes, that is the correct answer, but Dave Clark got it earlier. Dave Clark got it first. Actually, here's a fun one I want to put in for a little side chat with everybody. I saw a post and I really couldn't come to an answer. I can figure out my phone works. Oh, man. Well, I should have taken a picture of it. It refreshed. It's gone. It was about Thanksgiving. I'll find it later and do it later. Let's see. 1 foot flipper. No. Goldberg. No. Goldberg is one of the worst humans on the planet. I can't stand him. He ended Bret Hart's career. That's one of those things I've learned in these interviews is he was dangerous and he didn't care about the other people and he would hurt people constantly. Didn't care to be good at it. Just wanted to be dominant in a sport that the winners are pre-decided most of the time. I think like 90% of the time. Sometimes they decide it like in the action. They're like, okay, this is leaning this way, and they'll like figure it out. But Goldberg was known for hurting people and not caring one bit. He's a terrible human in a sport where you have to count on the other person. And yes, it is a sport, whether it is planned or anything. The stuff they do is beyond athletic sometimes. Sometimes it's just plain stupid how much crazy stuff they do. Take a wrestling chop and then you know it's real. Let's see. Corey Lowe, tell me he paid full price or did he send you a low ball offer? Full price excessive paid shipping because Jen made an accident when she was listing it, and it was an oversized package, and she listed it USPS priority. So paid $55 for the item, $48 for the shipping, which ended up only costing, I don't know, 20 bucks because I reboxed it and resized it, but it should have been set up as FedEx or UPS anyways. Learning moment for her. And I really didn't lose out on the money because I ended up resizing the box. And I did throw in a giant tip of the Mitt Flip sticker, and a note just said big fan. And that was it. I even hesitated doing that. I'm like, oh, is that crossing a line? But I was like, I've thrown in stickers for other people. Like, who cares? Whatever. And I just did. Where are we at? RC, the retiree, keep his info private. Yeah, I think I'll mention that it was, a wrestler or stuff like that. But I think I'm going to keep it out of the thumbnail and title. Definitely won't say his eBay name, because then you would be able to go to his eBay name. You can't search people by their real name. It's like I'm better off using his real name than his eBay name, even though the eBay name is the one I'm freely allowed to because it's public information. Mark Livermore, just name your video Drax's Boots. Oh yeah, I could maybe just do a Guardians of the Galaxy angle. Make people think it was Chris Pratt, right? Chris Pratt. There's so many. There's like Chris Pratt, Chris Pine, and one more that their names are too close together, and I mix them up all the time. The Lego bug, I kept messaging Tip of the Mitt Flips channel is awesome during the Cash to Trash podcast today. It was the truth. I appreciate that very much. I haven't seen Trash to Cash podcast, and that's not because I have anything against it. I don't have a lot of time to watch stuff, and the stuff I do watch, it's usually smaller channels and not anything bigger, but that's when I just haven't. And there's actually quite a few reseller podcasts. I didn't know that. I've seen, I don't know, 5-10 of them. They definitely don't get the traffic that the reseller or picker channels themselves get. That's definitely a lower market share, but it would be definitely fun. Corey Lowe, every video I see that splash can on the top shelf, and for some reason I want it. Yeah, that is, I think that was a gift back when, if you don't know, next time you're watching a video, look at the top of my entertainment center, and I have all the collectibles up there. There's a paint can. It says Splash, and Splash was a gum in the 90s that would come in a paint can, and they would just sit on the countertop. It was a really cool way to display the gum. I don't think they do it anymore, but if some company isn't doing it, they should, because that's just a really cool marketing tool and an easy way to ship it. Maybe it's just too expensive because it's an actual paint can. But I think my sister got one for a birthday or Christmas, like new. Actually, my sister's in the chat. Let me know. Was it birthday, Christmas? I think it was yours. And then at some point, it's made its way into my stuff, and now it's on display for forever because that stuff doesn't move. That's up there. Let's see. Andy, so meta, money isn't real and we're all gonna die. Yeah, I just had a conversation with my dad today. I posted something on my own personal Facebook. I'm terrified for the financial future of my kids. Like, it's the path we're on right now. I gotta stop moving my hands. I gotta really turn that off. I'll say that for about the next 7 lives until I actually do it. If you guys know me, you know that's true. The path financially that the U.S. is in, and the world, but U.S. pertains to me, it's a path to just terrible. Like, everybody's like, oh, it's so bad right now, blah blah blah. Like, no, this is, in 10 years you're gonna look back and go, wow, I wish it was 2023 again. If something drastic doesn't change, it's bad. It's going really bad, and it's going to be, when those types of things happen, it's so quick. It's let me actually pull up the post because it's actually pertinent. I want to make sure I get the information right. Yeah, Argentina. Argentina just released a $2,000 peso because their inflation, not their inflation, their yes, their inflation and their what's the word I'm looking for? The devaluation of their currency has been so rapid. And actually, someone chimed in, a buddy of mine that was just there. I think his wife is Argentinian, and he said he had to walk around with thick stacks of money just to go get lunch, and then you have to go back and get another stack of money. But they just released a 2,000 peso bill to reduce how much money you have to carry around. Guess how much that 2,000 peso is worth? Less than $2. I mean, yes, things are cheaper there, but it's a slippery slope. And once it starts happening, it's on. And I'm scared every day. I try to prepare for it the best I can. And sometimes I just rack my brain. What do I do? What are the steps I do to make sure my children's future is insured, even though I know it's going to get worse? And there's not good answers. Really, there's not. But my only answer always is buy hard assets. I mean, I own a home. That's a great thing. They will always have a home that they could live in if things get bad enough. But beyond that, it's terrifying. Put a little rain cloud on the chat here. Where were we? 39 on your live. Awesome. Thank you, sister, out in the chat. 1 foot flipper, my subscriber goal is to have one more than old school picker. That's a great goal. Michelle retracted her message. Michelle, did you say a bad word? Andy so meta, not Ric Flair being top on Drew's ghoul pool. What we thinking? 24, 25? I'm assuming ghoul pool means when they're going to kick the bucket. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it's in his next interview. I mean, he just looks so bad, just so bad. And you hear the stories of like what he's been through, and he's not even some of the worst ones. He had the booze problem. He didn't have like the cocaine problem or any of that. Like Rowdy Roddy Piper. He said he used to just like Tony Montana and then go he'd do that multiple times in the back, just handfuls. Like these guys, man. Sundrop Cat. I see Ric Flair on the regular as he lives in the same small town outside of Charlotte as my. I don't know what that stands for. Son-in-law, I assume. Don't meet your heroes, y'all. Just don't. Yeah, I've heard that many times. I've only had interactions very briefly with famous people a couple times. Saw Tim Allen once on Mackinac Island. I've seen athletes at athletic events, baseball games, basketball games, whatever. That doesn't really count. Like you're going to there. It'd be like showing up at their house and be like, oh, look, you're at your house. But I saw Justin Verlander and I can't remember his girlfriend's name, the model. Saw them on Mackinac Island. Let's see. I saw Bruce Willis at a mall in a town called Traverse City. He was being stalked by like a crowd of people, and even at like 16 years old, I was like, no, like that seems lame. I was like peeking from afar. I'm like, holy crap, that's Bruce Willis. But I wasn't gonna like approach him or do like, it was literally a crowd was just like following him around. It was sad for him. I wouldn't want that at all. I saw Rasheed Wallace at a mall outside Detroit. What was that mall called? Somerset Mall. But I saw Rasheed Wallace. I actually met Jeff Daniels on a golf course one time. I ran the pro shop. His college roommate was a member, so I knew he was coming. I had the day off. I went with a buddy of mine, and we snuck out on the, well, not really snuck out, but we went out on the course golfing a couple of holes. And then I knew like a back way to like get in front of him. I got in front of him, and then we like took our time a little longer than we should have on a par 3. Because I knew then we could just get out of their way. And so they rolled up on us, and I was like, oh, I said, I knew the one guy. So I approached like, oh, I don't know that Jeff Daniels in your car. I was like, oh, hey, Mr. Da-da-da. And he's like, oh, yeah, these are my college roommates. And I could see on Jeff Daniels' face, he was like, I don't want to talk to you. You shouldn't be in front of us. I'm mad we're stopping. Like, I could see in his face, he's like, do not talk to me. So I just said, nice to meet you. Enjoy your round. We'll go ahead. We won't putt. We'll get out of your way, and you won't see us again, blah, blah, blah. But his face said, do not talk to me. And so that's what I did. But he actually plays. He does, like, I don't know if you guys know, Jeff Daniels also plays guitar and has like albums. But he does, like, because he's from Michigan, he plays mostly a lot of his gigs in Michigan, and he plays at our local opera house every couple of years. I've never went and saw him, but from what I heard, he's pretty good. He's got like a Gordon Lightfoot type of vibe. Let's see, where are we at? Stay home to shop. What happened to your logo banner you were hanging in your basement? I took it down to add some more boards to my ceiling, and then I never put it back up. I wanted to relocate it. I'm hoping to get some hooks for it and hang it on this divider, actually, for lives. But the problem is this divider is trash. It's junk. It's super cheap. It does its purpose, but it's very lightweight, easily could tip over. So I don't think that's going to work. But I think I might instead just make some type of upright. Actually, now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm going to take one of the clothes racks like I use for my bubble wrap. I have 2 of them now because I got the double decker. I'll take the single one, put some hooks on it. Boom, problem solved. So stay home to shop. Thank you for helping me work that out. That will be in the next live because I can raise it up to wherever I want. That's perfect. My oldest will be disappointed because I said she could have it for a closet, or I'll buy a new one. They're cheap. They're like $12. Let's see. Mark Livermore. Goldberg was WCW's Ultimate Warrior. Ultimate Warrior, also trash. He was hyped. He's a psychopath, terrible wrestler. He was. If you go back and watch the stuff, he's junk. He wasn't very good. But when I was a kid, I thought he was probably the coolest because he had a cool motif and he always had the paint. The makeup was so cool. Nope. He was trash. He was just a big dude, but honestly, a literal crazy person. He thought he was the Ultimate Warrior. Like, actually thought that's who he was. Thought he was descended from the heavens, Ultimate Warrior. He was an actual crazy person. He would like scream at fans in airports if they approached him, like curse at little kids. He's just not a good human. Dark Toy Lord. I am not a current wrestling fan, but I used to watch back in the day. Thanks to YouTube, I've been watching classic Hogan, Andre, Macho Man matches. Yeah, I was briefly a fan, but I probably, if my parents would have let me watch it when I was younger, they were very strict on what I could watch on TV. I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons, which I get. That's fine. Wasn't allowed to watch wrestling. I probably, if my kids wanted to watch wrestling, back then I would have. Now, not a chance. Super sexualized. Not a chance. Let's see. Dark Toilet. I try Dark Toy Lord. That's hard for me to get out. Toy Lord. I have to enunciate. I try to watch Trash to Cash, leave them on the background, but really as much as I like all those guys, they just talk over each other every episode. If any of them are here, please don't hate me. That is a thing with podcasts. You have to have somebody who's in charge of the podcast. Someone who is controlling the ship. Because if not, it just goes off the rails. It's not just, if you're doing it for fun, it can be 3 to 5 buddies, friends, just sitting around jibber jabbing and talking, doing whatever, and it free flow, and it is what it is. But if you want it to actually function and be successful, there has to be a captain of the ship. Somebody has to go, oh, they got to, okay, let the person, cut them off, that kind of thing. The one that before the show, you say, if I talk over you, that is me telling you to stop talking so we can get things going, because you're trying to produce something live. You're trying to produce a show on the fly. So you have to have somebody who's in charge. And that's a problem with a lot of podcasts is it's just nonsense. And then half the time that most of their content is just clipped for shorts or whatever, reels or all the other things, TikTok. And so it doesn't really matter. They only need 30 second to 2 minute segments to hit. And then they just make their money off that or their popularity off that. I was going to cut it off at 7. We got 32 people here still. I'll stick around for a while. And we still got, oh, geez, I got to hurry it up. I'm going to catch up. But I will have to cut it off at 7:30, hard stop, because I was going to do 7. And I have somebody who wants to buy something. And so, got to make that money. Where are we at? Danica Valentine. Danica, how you doing? I've been eyeing the teal vintage fan. It's really cool. If you like it, let me tell you, the fan motor is not original. If that matters to you, it has been replaced. I don't know if that would matter to anyone unless you were like a collector, but it works great. I think it's super cool. And you know what, Danica, you've been really good to me. I'll let you know. There is one in better condition than mine that's basically the same price. And that's how nice of a guy I am. If you really want it, make sure you check, because there was one underpriced, like mint. I think it might have had the box even, like mint condition, but it was way underpriced. And I can't price mine cheap. I couldn't price mine cheaper. I have to just wait for that one to sell. So if that one's sold, yeah, go ahead and buy mine. But if not, there was one that was, like I said, underpriced. It was gorgeous. Corey Lowe, what's the one flip that you will always remember, like turning $1 into something? I bought a box lot at an auction for $1, and I found 10 mint Carson City silver dollars in a cigar box. That's pretty awesome. I mean, there's some that I'll always remember. I mean, the Nike shoe deal, because that was honestly a game changer. That I turned $1,800 into like 10, 12 grand, and I was expecting to turn it into like 4. It was just good inventory. It wasn't like I didn't think I was going to make a ton of money. When I got the vintage pens in a check box, that was, that was huge, because that also opened my eyes to pens. None that are like that, that quintessential, like, oh, can't believe it happened. Because I've never had a find where it was into, like, yes, $1 into 100, but now I've done that enough times where that's not really, oh wow, $1 into 100. Like, yes, when it happens, I'm pumped, so happy. Get something for free, and I get $50 for it. I'm pumped. But those things have happened enough times for that to have. I'd have to have something where it's like a couple bucks into, $1,000. I'd have to have one of those where that would have to be like to take over that top spot, because the top spot is kind of a plateau. There's been quite a few up at that spot. But anything that's really opened me up into a new category, it really sticks in the mind, because it opened you up to, oh, this is a thing I could do. But pens, oof. I went on HiBid the other day. Finally, I'm committing myself to one day, because I'll go spend 3 hours at a thrift shop and come home with butt kiss and just be disappointed. Why won't I sit on the computer for 3 or 4 hours on HiBid and try to find stuff? The problem with it is, because that's what everybody always says, oh, do online auctions. You can't find something, do online auctions. Even to get these people to ship to me, I have to, like, before I buy it, have a conversation with a human and hope that human isn't just some schlub. Like, it's not the best, but I can't dismiss it until I've tried it. So I'm going to take a day, maybe like a full work day, and go on HiBid. And I think pens is what I'm going to target, because I could hopefully maybe find like a junk drawer lot or something. And I have enough knowledge at this point where I think I might be able to spy something that somebody else would miss. I don't know. I did see that about an hour away from me, hour and 15 minutes, is an auction, but it's all new goods and their minimum bids were ridiculous. I'm so jealous of people that live. The competition goes up if you're in a more populated area, but also your opportunities at things also go up. Let's see. Michelle Sweeney, golden guns. Yeah. Hard assets. Yeah, there's a David Kiyosaki, I think is his name. He's a real rich guy. He's famous for he made a board game about money, and Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he wrote a book. He claims he's good at money, but honestly, he had some money, not a ton, but he went through the military and whatever. But he made all his money off his book and his board game. Like, he made crazy money and real estate. But now he acts like he's a money mogul and like he knows all the things. Like, man, come on, man. You have money. You don't have to know money. But either way, the thing he always says is you want the 3 B's, Bitcoin, bullion, and bullets, which not like to even like, that's not even a joke. Like, not to put them in something, because I don't want to say the G word too many times and get demonetized. But the price of them goes up. You could honestly like buy some, put them in a safe, and if you buy the right ones, the price goes up. Jen, what did I walk into? Well, it depends on what part you walked in on. Was it the wrestling? Yeah, last one was very D&D heavy. This one wrestling heavy. Ashley, somehow it ended up in your stuff. It was for my birthday. Yeah, well, you're not getting it back now. Tough nuggies. Andy, so meta at Sundrop Cat. That's exactly how the Kill Tony show went. He left in the middle of it. Oh, okay. Yeah, the talking over each other. Is that? I'm assuming that's what you mean. Yeah. Oh, she had said the don't meet your heroes. Yeah. Yeah, and and he's also old. Once I'm like old, like I'm not gonna care. I won't be a nice old guy. I mean, sometimes, I got a Werther's in my pocket. It'll just be an excuse to carry around Werther's, but I just won't care. I'll be mean to people. What about if you got limited time left? I'm just gonna do whatever I want, whenever I want. The older I get, the more insane I will become, but on purpose. And this is a plan I've had since I was little. Since I was little, I had a neighbor around the corner who I was in the Boy Scouts, and he would always buy popcorn off me when we do our popcorn sale. And every time he'd be on his porch eating out of a can, beans, whatever, random canned good, be eating out of a can on a rocker. And I was like, that's the life I want to live. That sounds great. What do you want for lunch today? You know what? I want some baked beans. What do you want with it? Baked beans. So what I'm going to do? Don't want to do dishes? No. I'm going to open a can of baked beans, go sit on my nice rocker, and watch traffic go by. I'm going to eat my baked beans because that's what I want to do. He wasn't doing it because he had to. He did it because that was what he wanted to do. And I was like 10 years old, 9 years old. I was like, that sounds freeing. Let me see if I can speed round this so I can get through everything that's left. Jen, my dad played golf with David Robinson, Dad Ambrose in the Charles Barkley Golf Classic. I got to ride along in the cart all day. That is awesome. That is awesome. The General, David Robinson. I mean, what a beast. But I mean, Charles Barkley, that'd have been probably very inappropriate for you, I'm assuming, but that's really cool. I hope someday you get to see Charles Barkley and talk to him about it again. Charles is one of my favorite people. He's just a knucklehead. Dark Toy Lord, I met William Forsythe, best experience of my life. He was so cool, kind of guy that you could just go have a beer with. Yeah, it's probably hit or miss. I mean, just like general public. I mean, not everybody's cool. I mean, and people, if you got to be famous, you're probably faking it a lot. I won't say any names, but I've spoke with YouTubers that were not that nice. Craig, born in Detroit, 1956, best time to grow up, Lions, Red Wings, wrestling, and roller derby on a black and white RCA with rabbit ears. Yeah, the Lions in the 50s were the tops. And that's always been sad. Like growing up, I had to tout that we had not Super Bowls, we had world championships. That's what I had to fall back on. But yeah, the Red Wings, they need to put it back in gear. I mean, they were good my whole life, and then just have been struggling. But hockey is one of those things where you got to get the guy. It's not like the Pistons, like the Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton team, where you put enough good players together and they work together and you make it work. Hockey, you have to have a guy, because they can be just such a difference maker. You know, an Ovechkin. Oh, hey, buddy. Come say hi before I hang up. Come on, big boy. Hello. Say hello. Meow. All right, you don't want to play long? You get out of here then. Blackbeard says hello. Let's see. Tim Holcomb, QQQ, do you do dynamic promoted listings? I do whatever the one's called where you get to pick. And I do 2.1 on everything. Newest listings, I do not promote until I have a pool, until my pool of new listings gets to around 200, 150, 200. Then I'll take 25 of those, promote them. Every once in a while, I'll add some, depending on how it goes. I just don't want to promote listings that I just listed. I want to give them some amount of time to sell on their own. Because you also get a bump for it being a fresh listing, I think. But again, eBay doesn't tell you these things. The can was from Uncle Bob. Oh, that's cool then. My Uncle Bob, my dad's brother, he was a pretty cool guy. 1 Foot Flipper, 1989 until August 1993 was when I watched wrestling. Once I got that driver's license, I never watched again. Yeah, driver's license well, not anymore. Because, I mean, I thought of this the other day when I was driving. I used to, as a teenager, I drove the speed limit, not because I didn't want to break the law, but because I had nowhere to go. The drive was the goal. And I'm going to use this in a video at some point because it's a nice talking point. The drive itself was the goal. And he loved it. You got in the car, you cruise town, you start getting low on gas, you get a couple of quarters from this friend, quarters from that friend, the girl in the back, because for some reason girls always had more money. I don't know why. But, a super chat. Thank you so much. What happens if the Lego Bug. We love your content, my friend. $5 super chat. Thank you. I appreciate that. It was just about the drive. I was never in a hurry. It didn't matter how long it took me to cruise town because I was just going to do it again. So I drove the speed limit everywhere. I loved it. And kids just will never get that. It's just too expensive. Like I go in my town. It's a small town. There's 3 stoplights. The thing to do was cruise town. Go park with your friends and chat. Since after I, got older, if I go to town, that doesn't exist. There's no kids in town. They don't cruise town. They don't do that thing. They just can't afford it if they have a car at all. Dark Toy Lord, I picked up a comic book collection. Apparently Warrior had his own comic. Yep, I have issue number 1. It's worthless. Yes, he trademarked Warrior. He had it embroidered on all of his clothes that he would wear on a regular basis. Not like at work, like to the airport, to the grocery store. He was insane, and not in a good way. 1 Foot Flipper, a whole bunch of people are going to buy worthless comics because of ADH Dave's comic buy. Yeah, just throw them on Whatnot. I bought trash. Let me pillage. Let me not go on and, make your money, Dave. Make your money. Danica Valentine, I love the color. Haha, shipping is the killer. Yeah, that size item, there's not much you can do about it. But viewer, you're clearly a viewer. Let me know if there's ever something large, and any of you out there, if there's like a larger item, and you want to buy it, let me know. I'll pass on the discount, the shipping discount to you. I'll eat the fees, because that's what the discount covers. It covers your packing material and your fees and all that kind of stuff. But for a viewer, I'll say, hey, can you help me out with the shipping? Every time I'll refund the difference. That's no questions if you ask for it. If they don't ask for it, I do use that money for the business. It's not like it all goes in my pocket. Some, yes, not all. Good morning, Venezuela. I was a male exotic dancer before I became a reseller. Now that is a change of occupations. But that's probably a good starting point for the two, because the one is probably primarily at night, the other one primarily during the day. They don't interfere. One's probably mostly cash, one's not. So you could have under the table money, not under the table money. Dark Toy Lord, my best deal was a Star Wars action figure 2-pack that I bought for myself. Probably paid $20. It went up to the attic and I forgot about it for 20 years. Found it and sold it for $500. That's a good return right there. William Simmons, I've been fortunate when I was outsourcing, buying things that caught my eye rather than what someone had on a video. I honestly did this last time. Read that. None of the words went into my brain because I was thinking of something else. People probably say that's ADD or something. I just think I think too much. I've been fortunate when I was outsourcing, buying things that caught my eye rather than what someone had in video. That's actually a great thing. Well, at least don't assume that in the video, unless they show you a sold comp, that what is shown in a video is actually something to buy. Don't just, I saw that in so-and-so's video. Let me buy that thing. Nuh-uh. Check. Don't trust. Verify. Jen, Robert Kiyosaki. Yes, that is his name. The rich dad, poor dad. Like I said, he touts himself as some type of money guru, but he made his money in real estate. Doesn't take a guru to know real estate makes you money. And then he wrote a book. So I like him. I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm saying don't say you're a guru when you did the thing that everyone would do if they had the ability to do it. Buy real estate. Jen, since when do you need an excuse to carry around Werthers? You're right. I'm going to buy some Werthers. As long as they're gluten-free, because unfortunately, stupid gluten allergies ruining my life. This is going to be my first Thanksgiving knowing that I have a gluten allergy. I'm just going to not care. The Lego Bug, best reseller podcast ever. Jen, I've eaten beans out of the can. Live your life. Yeah, I'm not saying I haven't eaten something out of a can. I hate doing dishes. I don't have a dishwasher. I have a tiny sink, so doing dishes is the worst. And it's also an antique, like, ceramic sink. So it's like I have to be gingerly with everything, because if I bump the side, things break. I hate it. I have a new sink. I just have to do the work of replacing it. Good morning, Venezuela. David Robinson is the admiral, not the general. Yes, you are correct. Thank you for correcting me. I would hate to offend David Robinson, but yes, the admiral. And I think that's because he went to a military school, or he was like a military kid, something like that. RC, the retiree. Dennis Edwards of the Temptations, my favorite groups of all time. Are you saying that you met Dennis Edwards? That's cool. Temptations, super cool. Temptations movie is awesome. It's so long. I remember, actually, I'm mentioning that I worked at Blockbuster with Michelle. I started watching the Temptations movie on like MTV2. So there was commercials on top of it. So it was like 4.5 hours, but I didn't know that. I was like, oh, Temptations movie. I haven't seen this. I'll watch it. I have to work tonight. No big deal. Kill some time. I watch it. It just keeps going and going. I'm like, well, I better get dressed for work. And then I get dressed and brush my teeth. And I just kept doing like little things. I'd go back to the movie. And I finally like checked the guide. Because back then you had to check the guide. And it still had like 45 minutes to go. I was like, this is insane. And then I had to wait for it to be on television again. I didn't get to see the ending for like 6 months, but it was a great movie. Carrie W. Hello, Blackbeard. He's pouting now. I don't know what he's doing. Hello, Blackbeard from Robin Loves Bobby. The Lego Bug with the super chat. Again, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Robin Loves Bobby. Same. The drive was the goal. Yeah, it was just, I thought of that the other day where I didn't have somewhere to be for once. I didn't have a schedule. I actually had a couple minutes I needed to kill. Like I needed to pick Thea up from school and I didn't want to go home first. And I looked down, I was going like 6 miles over the speed limit, like not anything crazy. And I was like, oh, I could just go slower. That's an option. And it was a nice day. It was sunny out. It wasn't really nice, but I was like, man, I remember going the speed limit or under the speed limit even. People hated it. I'd be going 20 and a 25. I'm like, you can pass me if you want. I got nowhere to be, and I'm loving it. Dark Toy Lord, I hear you. I loved when I just got my license. My friends and I would circle the town nonstop. It was the best. Yeah, we have a main street. We have a main street with 3 stoplights. It took 7 minutes if you went 25 miles an hour. So it was like 7 minutes, and I used to know the exact time if you hit the lights and if you didn't hit the lights. I also used to know the exact time of how long it would take me to get from my house to all of my friends' houses, because then I would never be late. Okay, if I leave at this time, I'll be home. And I knew that from all my friends' houses. Because there was never like traffic was going to pop up on me. Retro with Rush. My best find was a PS2 game bought for $2.99, sold for $3.50. Wow. What PS2 game was that? Was it new? New in package? RC the Retiree. Yes, I met him, and the Temptations movie is the best. It's really good. The casting was great. I really enjoyed it. I can't remember back, but I think there's some parts that might not be appropriate for the kids. So I don't think that's going to be a family movie, but I might try to find that and watch it again. Good Morning Venezuela. He was in Navy Admiral. Oh, okay. He was in Navy, like he went to Navy, the school, or he was in the Navy. I'm not one of those things, but that's how he got the nickname. But he was yoked. 90s basketball players. I mean, it was crazy. Andy Someta. Celiacs is such a vindictive thing. You talking about gluten intolerance made me think of that. Not saying you have it. It's just a weird way to punish someone. Yeah, I think it's because I ate nothing but cereal and mac and cheese my whole childhood. Like that was my whole diet. So I think I probably from like the messed up wheat they used ruined my body. And so now I have an intolerance to it. And it's not crazy. It just, I will literally, and I mean literally, peel my skin off. I will start itching. I will itch in my sleep and I will rip my skin off. And I always thought it was allergies. I thought I had a major allergy problem. Nope, gluten. So that's a bummer. I forgot I had a little drink of wine here. All right, I'll try to finish a couple more. But at 7:30, it will be a hard out. Everybody who showed up, thank you so much. 39 people still here. This is so cool. I'll finish up a couple more, but if you haven't, on your way out, if you get the thumbs up, that would be also super cool. Carrie W, this live was fun. I enjoy your videos. Keep up the good work. Carrie, thank you. I enjoy this too. I might stop making videos, just do lives. But then who would come to the lives? Of course, I got to keep making videos. Retro with Rush, Silent Hill Shattered Memories was the PS2 game. Yeah, the Spooky Ookie games, that has a following. I bought a mystery box one time, and in it was a PlayStation 1 Resident Evil game, and I was so pumped. But then the game, it was like warped. It was like domed, so it wouldn't even seat. It wasn't scratched, but the game itself was domed. It was very weird. I think I still have it because I was like, well, I'm not going to throw it away. I think I ended up selling the case and still making some amount of money. But yeah, the Spooky Ookie, people love it. Mark Livermore, I cruised your streets when I got my driver's license too. Had to go to the LP to find a town to cruise. Yeah. Yeah, up in the Upper Peninsula, you cruise town, you just end up in the woods. You could, and I'm not saying I never did that. I mean, two tracking. I mean, to those that know, two tracking is also awesome. I had a I won't go into it because it's getting too close. But I had a tiny car that was actually great at two tracking because I would just drive around things like trees. I could drive in the woods to go miss a puddle. Uh, Andy Someta, I used to have that exact symptom with my arms. I never knew what triggered it. I just laid off gluten. I literally became sensitive to it. Yeah, I I found out on accident because we thought Jen had a gluten allergy, or she does, and so we changed the diet. And I ended up with the benefits. I was like, oh, great. Can't even sneak pizza anymore. RC Retired, had a great time hanging with you. And Andy Someta, take care. Yes, 7:30. Thank you so much for coming. I will do this again. It will be Monday or Tuesdays. And then I think I'm going to try this week. I'm going to try this week to do a live, like just a listing hangout. But who knows? We'll see how that goes. I will do one soon, but I'm going to try to do one this week. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out. I'll catch you next time.